Welcome to BioSignals, the podcast powered by BioCrossroads, where we decode the pulse of Indiana's life sciences sector. Each episode, we bring you the innovators, breakthroughs, and bold ideas shaping the future of health and science. The intersection of artificial intelligence, biology, and computing for the sake of human health and longevity, it's the stuff of science fiction. But our guest today has pursued this for his entire career. David Umulis is Purdue Senior Vice Provost and Chief Academic Officer for Indianapolis. His work is pushing the boundaries of how we understand and potentially control complex living systems. In today's episode, we'll explore the breakthroughs happening in David's lab, including how AI is accelerating discovery and what it could mean to truly crack the code of cellular organization. We'll also zoom out to look at Indiana's growing life sciences ecosystem, the role of collaboration in translating research into real-world impact, and how Purdue's expanding presence in Indianapolis could shape the next generation of talent and innovation. David, welcome to BioSignals.
Welcome, David. We're here with David Umulis, who's the Senior Vice Provost and Chief Academic Officer for Purdue, and here in Indianapolis. And we're just excited to have you, David, to join our BioSignals episode. You're a member of our BioCrossroads Board of Directors and a great leader in our community. And so it's awesome to have you join us today. Maybe just share, David, a little bit about your own journey and how you got into becoming a scientist and a biomedical engineer, and then what brought you to Purdue.
Absolutely. Hi, Vince. Thank you so much for the invitation and a chance to speak to your audience. It's been great to be a member of BioCrossroads, and I love all that we're doing for the state of Indiana in this sector. Science is always of high interest to me, and I really started to really take it seriously in undergrad when I did an undergrad research project as a chemical engineer, but applying that approach to human physiology. This really piqued an interest that I had to pursue in grad school, and so went to Minnesota for chemical engineering. And after being there about 2 years, I was like, I really understand the chemical engineering aspects of all of this, but I really need to grow an understanding of medicine. And so I picked up my computer and I walked across the street and I plopped down in the Howard Hughes Medical Institute lab in the School of Medicine at Minnesota, Mike O'Connor's lab, to understand and learn developmental biology and bone morphogenetic proteins and the role of those molecules in development and cancer, and then bring engineering principles to a new field. And it was the right choice. I learned a new language, formed great partnerships, and made a lot of early discoveries by innovating at the interface of those fields.
Wonderful.
And that just carried that forward.
Yeah, wonderful. And so tell us about your research that you're doing today at Purdue.
Sure.
So you have your own active research laboratory and a team,
yes.
You're publishing and all that. So tell us a little bit about your work there.
I have an awesome team, undergraduates, grad students, and postdocs that continue to work at the interface of compute, AI, and biology. Our niche still is looking at connecting genotype, so changes in genotype, to how that impacts structure, function, phenotype. And in many instances, disruptions of these pathways lead to cancer. And so our niche is using a lot of imaging and a lot of computing to take data from images and convert it to information that helps us with testing hypotheses and be a tool creator for making discoveries.
So when you talk about images, are these pathology staining images, or are they radiological images, or all the above?
Most of our images are from fluorescent light microscopy. We use multiple different modalities there, where you label a molecule you're interested in, either in a live tissue using genetic means, or you use a fixed tissue using chemical means, and you hit it with lasers and look at the reflection of the light that's picked up by sensors. And so you can target specific things in their natural context to see where they're at, how much is in the different locations. And by doing this many, many times, stitch together the connections between information stored in molecules and DNA into patterns that give rise to the shape function of organs and tissues in development.
And so what do you see as the opportunity from a translational impact perspective of taking this discovery and getting it into ultimately clinical practice, because at the end of the day,
At the end
you
of the
want to be
day,
able to change the standard of care. So do you see a pathway for the work that your lab is doing to be able to impact patients?
yeah, in two different ways. I really see the core molecules we focus on have always been molecules that are of high medical relevance. So we look at pathways that are involved in that right now in your body are maintaining tissues and replenishing tissues, but when they're disrupted, when their signaling is misconstrued by the receiving cells, it oftentimes leads to cells that grow without bounds in cancer. And so the quantitative understanding of the tools we're building really contributes to that field in a wide way for discovery, but also in more pragmatic ways. More recently, we've been getting into how these pathways intersect with other biological pathways for wound repair using in the EMBRIO Institute, which stands for Emergent Mechanisms in Biology of Robustness, Integration, and Organization. In so doing, the real value of a lot of the work that we're doing provides more tools for researchers to deploy in their own work on discovery. So we develop tools in AI and simulation. It's always been the niche, the engineering, computer science connection to biology that provides ways for more rapid in silico hypothesis testing. Everybody talks about now these digital twins.
Right.
And the digital twins are, advanced models of the biological systems. What we're doing in the Institute, because we're looking at creating digital twins in many systems, is working now, once we created a digital twin between them, I call it digital cousins, so that you can measure properties and things in one system and make predictions in the other. This has a lot of impact on the pipeline for getting useful lab information and translating that into outcomes that have direct impact for patients.
I think the FDA has signaled the desire to eventually move away from animal testing into in silico modeling. So you see the technology that your institute's working on to be potentially foundational or feeder into tools to be able to enable that vision?
This is exactly the niche that we're able to produce the tools to make a difference in. Yes.
Exciting. And so tell us more about this institute. Understanding it's a collaboration of a number of different universities coming together. Can you talk about who's involved and what that operating and collaboration model looks like?
Yeah, it's been a great opportunity. It's led by Purdue. We started it about 4.5 years ago. But importantly, we're able to build an ecosystem with strong partners. In the state of Indiana, this means IU, as well as Notre Dame, where we have labs working on this. We just published a paper, accepted, not published, yesterday with our partners at IU.
Congratulations.
And other partners at the University of Pennsylvania. So this is a collaborative effort looking at these processes in the zebrafish model system, which is a great system to look at the development and the movement of tissues. We also have partnerships with Texas A&M, University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, and Morehouse College in Atlanta. And through these, what the Institute does is we're looking at the same biological process in many different biological systems to get the ground truth data, which you always need for AI data, AI models in all of these systems, to build the digital twins in each one. And then the Institute function comes in by bridging between them all.
Oh, interesting.
So working between the digital twins in a way to extract information, so that information gained in one system can have an impact in understanding and constrain your system in the other biological species.
How many total collaborators, how many total institutions are involved in the Institute?
We have 6 total institutions right now, and in a process of growing the network by lots of new submissions, smaller projects, and looking at that. We have an annual summer workshop where we bring in students to learn these methods, and really working to develop biologists to be able to take access of all the technologies in AI and computer science that impact their field, but also help engineers and biologists, like I did as a grad student, engineers and more computer science folks, understand the language of biology. And cross those different fields.
Yeah, really interesting and important now, that cross-disciplinary approach, but that also making sure that folks that are in the engineering field understand underlying biology in order to connect those dots, right? And it's being supported by the National Science Foundation, is my understanding?
That's right.
Okay,
yeah,
that's great. And so it sounds like it's a great example of where federal support is supporting some really cutting edge research right here in Indiana. And so let's talk about that Indiana life science ecosystem. What are some of the hallmarks of our community? If you just kind of step back and you have opportunity to engage with researchers and scientists in the science community on a national or even international basis, what are the different hallmarks of this community that you think are distinctive from your perspective?
What I love about the network of universities we have in Indiana and around Indianapolis is that we have a lot of shared vision, common agenda to really raise the bar here. We're seeing it with the announcements and shifts with IU and Purdue right here in the city, but also think big about how we can compete nationally.
Mhm.
A lot of the big engineering schools that are world renowned grow and support this sector. You see it in Boston with MIT and supporting Harvard and others in that network, Georgia Tech Emory or UCSF Berkeley.
Mm.
And I really see that working effectively with our local partners, including Marion, which has a medical school now and really growing in the research domain, is a way for 1 + 1 = 3 or more. And BioCrossroads has been a great convening of these parties together to think big, think strategically about how we can do more together.
It's great. So it sounds like you've got a really active collaboration with the IU School of Medicine as well. Is
That's
that
right.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And are there particular departments within the School of Medicine that you specifically interface with the most?
Before this role that I have now for Indianapolis, I was head of the Weldon School of Biomedical Engineering, and we were very intentional about building these relationships and partnerships. We have a strong core in pediatrics, engineering researchers working with clinicians, cardiovascular, neuroengineering, otolaryngology, so ear, nose, and throat. There's applications for robotics and AI, and in fact, we've launched 2 new centers in Indianapolis to support this ecosystem. One focuses on robotics and AI, and this is with faculty involved from multiple institutions, as well as a new Center for Musculoskeletal Engineering that recently convened a symposium with over 60 faculty and attendees that continue to look towards building this ecosystem and raising the city in the area of engineering and medicine prominence.
And you also are in your role as Senior Vice Provost and Chief Academic Officer of Purdue for Indianapolis. You really play a pivotal role in the growth and expansion of Purdue. And it's really exciting. You just drive around Indianapolis and you see cranes, and a lot of that's attributed to the investment that Purdue is making here in Indianapolis. Can you talk a little bit about that? What are the strategic areas of focus of research and curriculum for Purdue's presence here in Indianapolis?
Yeah, that's a great question. And right now, the core is in a lot of the programs that we have established strength in West Lafayette, but also take special advantage of what we can do here in the city. So at the forefront, we have a great faculty cohort and a lot of recruiting going on in biomedical engineering. We have a strong musculoskeletal component here, a strong neuroengineering component here, and really creative models to think about it as a system as opposed to just one institution in developing this growth. We have a lot of interest in supporting the radiopharmaceutical industry and the pharmaceutical industry in general through talent development.
And we are the
through programs.
radiopharmaceutical capital of the world, right?
You are the radiopharmaceutical capital of the world.
We are, yes.
You are, yes, we are. Absolutely. I say you because you spearheaded that effort, Vince, and that's a great recognition of what BioCrossroads can do for this region. Motorsports engineering, sports engineering, and things related around sports make all the sense in the world. We bring so much to the table in that space. We recently just hired Susan Broughton, who's been instrumental in helping that ecosystem as part of our programming to have students have real experiences. And if they want to have a career in sports and sport management, this is also a place to focus on and do that. Incredible growth in motorsports engineering. Last year, every single IndyCar team had a Purdue graduate,
Wow.
with the exception of one international team. And last I checked, Chip Ganassi was leading this year, but that was a couple of weeks ago. I have to if I'm out of date, but I believe that team has 12
Wow.
Purdue graduates.
Yeah.
Last check. So
Cradle of astronauts, but also
Cradle of
racing
astronauts.
engineers, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, that's
And so energy engineering, business growth, and also hospitality and tourism management. There's a lot of the cranes you see around the city are for new hotels,
great.
new concert venues. And we just want to reinforce Indianapolis in that mission, and BioCrossroads in the medicine space is a huge part of that.
Sure. How do you, what are some of the new pathways or journeys that are created for students that might be enrolled at West Lafayette. But now this expanding platform that you all are building here in Indianapolis, what kind of opportunities are being created through that, and what is that really that journey map, if you will, for a freshman who maybe starts in West Lafayette?
Yeah.
What are the on ramps to be able to tap in for that student into what's happening here in Indianapolis?
There's multiple ways depending on the season. So this summer we have over 200 interns staying in university housing while doing summer internships, and about half last year were West Lafayette students coming to do internships in Indianapolis at Eli Lilly, at Rolls-Royce or other partners in that space. We're 4 semesters in, and we have a strong duty of care for our students we inherited from the split. And so we have a full new curriculum that goes up through sophomore year, and we have continuing curriculum. Next year we'll have junior and mostly the senior year covered. And what we have here is a commitment to industry partnership, getting students in front of interviews to have opportunities for internships and co-ops. And we're actually seeing that in the numbers and rollout. And so there's a lot of opportunity for that during the semester of junior and senior year for students. And that's a strategic goal that we are focused on as we build out the curriculum, and more to come on that as we have that curriculum built over the next 2 years. We have 8 round-trip buses per day, starting at 6:30 in the morning and departing in the future at 10 o'clock at night. Right now, I believe it's 9:30 at night. And so it's roughly it's 2 hours between the departures, 55 passenger motor coaches with Wi-Fi and everything else like that, to connect the campuses. And we do see, we watch the utilization, and then as routes get full, start to add more routes. Last year we added several routes, more round trips to the schedule, and are watching that. We want everything that a student would need to advance their curriculum and their majors is available, but we want to make sure that there's breadth for students in Indianapolis to be able to access West Lafayette as well.
You're listening to BioSignals, the podcast powered by BioCrossroads. Now, let's hear more from David Umulis.
What are some of the investments that Purdue is making here in Indianapolis? What are those cranes building? Can you speak to that?
Sure. Right now, we are pouring the ceiling of the 15th floor of the Academic Success Building, which is going to open in summer of 2027. This is going to have maker spaces, retail, dining, residence halls, classrooms. It's got an awesome cafe with one of the best views of the city that I've seen from a cafe. It looks straight down to downtown, and it's going to be the hub for our hub and spoke model. Core to our mission, what we're doing here, is partnering with industry for the connections. If you look at the higher ed in general, there's a lot more opportunity to grow with industry as they become more invested in research, and we can be partners in that space. But it also provides a chance to lead to brain gain and talent gain for Indianapolis and Indiana. Dan Hassler, my partner in launching this, would always say, it's really easy to leave a place, but it's really hard to leave a relationship.
Absolutely.
And so our goal is to get these relationships formed early and often, so that students can really see themselves growing within the different discipline they're interested in, and have a head start on their career.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's really increasingly important as students are wanting to understand that greater relevance of what they're learning in the classroom to the real world impact of what they're learning, right? And so this focus of internships and co-op opportunities that you're all investing in, I think really is going to increase the relevance and power of the learning that happens through Purdue. And I'm myself an experiential learner, so I really appreciate that focus that you guys are doing. And I believe universities here in Indiana are in part measured by the state, by its retention of its graduates. And so what role does your investments in Indianapolis play for Purdue in terms of trying to move the needle with regard to that KPI?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have to have a strong hub to leverage the hub and spoke model. We also want to contribute to the city in meaningful ways and grow and partner with them. We've acquired quite a few properties along the canal. We have 1,500 feet, just under, like a few feet under 1,500 feet of canal frontage now. And as a visitor of San Antonio, you can see what that could be.
Yes,
And have
Riverwalk,
a vision,
yes.
have a river walk,
Or canal walk,
a
right?
canal walk,
Yeah.
and what I've seen in the development over the years in Indianapolis of Mass Ave and some of the other things. This is another region of the city that can really add vibrancy that would be meaningful for our students, for our staff and faculty, for industry partners that want to come visit us, but also for the city, for tourism, and reinforcing those connections.
And then take us, to 2035, David. Let's go in a time machine. What does Purdue Indianapolis look like, and what is its role vis-a-vis the West Lafayette campus and the larger ecosystem?
2035 is a great mark. We'll be on our way to 10,000 students is my prediction by 2035. Our first goal is 5,000 enrolled students, and before then, so we'll be somewhere along that trajectory between those two. And we'll have a reinforced bookend to the hard tech corridor, because in that same time frame, we're going to have the LEAP district in Lebanon fully constructed, and all the opportunity that that's going to bring. And so you're going to see this vibrancy grow along the 65 between West Lafayette and Indianapolis. You're going to see the unique programs that take advantage of Indianapolis growing and thriving. You're going to see a lot more student activity, student life. We just had a 72-hour hackathon this past weekend where the students developed a lot of really creative apps. And this is the year-over-year growth of that program put on by registered student organizations, completely student-led.
And fueled by power drinks, right?
And fueled by power drinks,
and pizza, right?
Yeah.
P&P, right?
Yeah. Is a real good spark.
Yeah.
That is exciting to see, and we're going to support it all the way through.
Yeah, love it. Last question, David, that we ask all of our guests is, what is one or two technologies that you see on the horizon that you're super excited about, that you think will be transformative for the work and the disciplines that you operate in today?
That is a fantastic question, Vince. I think the transformative technologies are going to bridge AI, molecular design, and radiopharmaceuticals to make a tremendous dent in cancers over the next 10 years. And Indianapolis is the place where that is going to be the center of mass. And I really see everybody tries to predict about how AI is going to change, revolutionize, and disrupt, or, put things at risk. But I see it as an accelerating engine in biology specifically, because it's really good at handling massive amounts of data.
Yeah.
All of my graduates, not all, many of my graduates were recruited away to financial companies and other, and Meta and Amazon and things, because of their ability to look at noisy data and then apply it to other systems. But now the tools are being developed to look at biology data and have it become more of a design principled field, in my view, where you'll be able to move much faster in biology because of things like AI. And I see that as something that's going to make a lot of difference for human health and medicine.
Yeah. Did you foresee like a future where people are kind of serially sequenced, and then their data, their genomic profile is, through big data and analytic platforms, viewed on the longitudinal basis to track changes, and creating almost a digital twin for a particular patient, and combining that with phenotypic data as well, right? From the EMR and maybe sensors, and then combining all that data together to develop a digital twin for a patient that then becomes a model for potential therapeutic response. You see potential for that, or am I just way out there?
No, I think that as there's more technology to take cells and tissues from a patient and then use these types of things for patient-specific care, that somehow modifies it and makes a difference, for therapeutic reasons, and utilizing that information. There's a lot of crazy ideas and opportunities out there that I think that we're going to start to see in the next 10 years. And also how that might spill over into other fields like robotics, which is just with the role that AI plays in being able to do sensor fusion and look at input output and all of the previous hurdles that you'd have from process control loops and oscillations and things are being addressed in ways to create robotics that are unfathomable 15 years ago, is, along those lines. And then at the interface of those two, we have a lot of research going on between multiple partners for brain-machine interfaces and neuroprosthetics and fusing those to make a difference. So you're going to see, I think, that take off as well.
Dude, I was eagerly anticipating this conversation because I knew it would be a fascinating one, and definitely lived up to that anticipation. So thank you for investing time with us, sharing your visionary perspective on the frontiers of medicine, but also the future for Purdue's presence here in Indianapolis. We're excited by your leadership and the investments that Purdue is making into our community and furthering and raising our game here as a community. So thank you so much, and look forward to continuing to partner with you and the university to advance the ball for Indiana's life science ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. It's been a pleasure.
For more information about BioCrossroads, our events, programs, and how you can get involved, please visit biocrossroads.com.